Hey friends, in this video I want to go through some super useful websites for everyday Australians when it comes to personal finance and investing. And as usual, I'll break the video down into the key segments. Feel free to jump ahead into different sections. Let's get into it. So the first website is paycalculator.com.au. I cannot tell you how useful and important this website is for you as an everyday Australian to be across. It gives you breakdowns that I've just generally not seen on any other website in Australia. First thing you do is you put in your salary. You say if it includes your superannuation or not, if you have HECS debt or not. Then before you do anything, you will immediately see value. Scroll down to the little table at the bottom and you will see a breakdown of what your take-home pay is. That $1,990.60 should be what is your take-home pay. And you can then see the different breakdowns between tax and superannuation and various other things. Now, stay with me. Let me show you the value of this. Let's say you want to start putting more money into your superannuation. You've seen various videos, you've read The Barefoot Investor, you've seen that narrative and you think, let's see what would happen. Do some simulations, should we say. You go in, you click the little tab, superannuation drops down, you get all these little options. You can say you want to do salary sacrifice superannuation. Then let's say you want to put in $100 fortnightly. You just want to simulate. What does that mean? $100 fortnightly. And immediately you see you get an $845 tax saving. It tells you how much you might save in tax. And then you can also scroll down and you can see how much your fortnightly pay will decrease by. And you will see the maths come through that your fortnightly pay does not actually decrease by $100 because of the tax saving. Exciting, right? Let's keep going because there's still more. Now, I know some of you have not used or maximized your superannuation contributions. So you probably have some unused superannuation contributions. What about taking that into account, right? Because if you scroll down to the superannuation band image, you'll see it's only fixed at $27,500 because that's what the government currently says. Let's pump that up based on, let's say you haven't used your superannuation contributions and you've got maybe $20,000 left over. If you're not sure what that number is for you, you can go to the ATO website. I'll throw a couple of screenshots, but you go to the ATO website, you go to unused superannuation something or other, and it will show you how much you haven't used of your concessional contributions. And that number you can then stick in here as carry forward. Because what the Australian government is basically saying is if you haven't been maximizing your superannuation amounts, they'll be allowing you to carry forward unused amounts and you can use that in future ones. So for example, let's say you went on there and you had about $20,000 of unused superannuation contributions. Go back to this website, whack it in, 20,000. You'll see immediately the concessional cap number on that diagram has gone up to $47,500. You can then start to simulate putting more money into your superannuation. It's super handy. Now stay with me. Let me show you even more value on this website, which is a recent thing that comes through. And this is why I love this website that Rob Shearing has built. He just keeps adding useful tools to it all the time. So it's super handy. This section around inflation calculator, a very relevant narrative, right? Inflation's like the treadmill of money. Keeps taking you back. How do you stay up to speed in terms of your actual purchasing power? What he has done on the website is shown you historical inflation and also how the RBA, the greatest economist in Australia, Easy Money Lowy and his crew, have predicted where they think inflation is going. What you can then do is, looking at your salary, you can think about how much do I need to be earning in the future to not have gone back purely based on inflation. Okay, purely based on inflation, how much do I need to be earning? As an example, let's say you're currently earning $100,000 a year in January 2022. What should you be earning by June of 2024 to have stayed up to speed with inflation? I'll give you a moment to make an educated guess. Wrong. $111,021 is what you should be earning. Okay, look at this diagram he gives you. How valuable is this? You're earning $100,000 a year currently. You need to be earning $111,000. If you still are earning $100,000 a year by then, because of inflation, you've effectively now only earning 90 grand. Let me just make a couple of points as well. If you do use this website and you find it useful, please take a moment, email Rob. Okay, he's got a contact thing somewhere on his webpage. Email him and just say thank you. Just one word, that's fine. Thank you. The other thing that I have now started doing as well is I've disabled my ad blocker. because he does use ads to kind of generate revenue to, I guess, pay for running this website. I've disabled it because when I find a website that I find useful, if there are ads, that's fine. I'll let them go. It's the way the internet works. You might as well support these guys. Let's move on. Now, the next website is Ficalc.app. When you go to this website, if you know, you know, is what I would say, okay? You'll see it immediately. You'll realize the backtesting strategy, the withdrawals. You'll figure it out straight away and you'll be like, oh, this is a super handy website. And you'll scroll through, you go through the guide, you'll figure it out. But if you're not picking it up immediately, let me walk you through it. But I will do a video in the future. I'll go into a bit more detail because I think this is a very useful website. And again, I have not seen an equivalent on the internet. It's not Australian specific though, is what I will say. So basically, when you start your personal finance and investing journey, one thing that you're trying to figure out, a couple of things you're figuring out is how much money do I need to actually retire, say down the track? And also, what should my withdrawal strategy be? And how does that retirement amount take into account different withdrawal strategies? And the third thing is probably the most important thing is how would this fluctuate over different time periods in the past? Meaning, if I took into account the last 100 years of data that there is out there on the share market, what would happen if I tried out a few different strategies? How would it all fluctuate and work out? And that's what this website effectively does, is it says, okay, you say this is how much you need to retire. This is what your withdrawal strategy is going to be, like how much money you need to actually take out of your portfolio over time. You then get to back test it over the last 100 odd years to then see, did it actually work out well? And under what circumstances did it not work? So for example, let's look at the default numbers that pop up. 30 years, $1 million, AT 15.5, constant dollar value adjusting for inflation. What you're effectively seeing is this person has now run a simulation using old data. Under what circumstances would this portfolio have failed in terms of you losing money? And under what circumstances would you have come out of that retirement period with money still around, basically, and you would have received your withdrawal strategy? So you get the success rate and you get a distribution of where your actual portfolio is. Again, don't stress too much if you're not picking up on it. I will do a video in the future to detail it. But then you also get this section here where it tells you under what circumstances would this portfolio have failed. So for example, let's click on 1965. This is saying, let's say you had $1 million in those days money and you retired in January 1965. If you had followed a constant dollar strategy of $40,000 a year, you would have run out of money by January 1992. That's what it's saying. The next website is ETFtracker.com.au. Now, it essentially helps you compare different types of ETFs, specifically in Australia. And that's the key thing I'll call out, is there are a lot of ETF comparison websites out there, but they're often very US focused. This one helps you look at what's going on with the Australian listed, ASX listed ETFs, which may have international exposure like VGS, VQ, VAE, but they're listed on the Australian Stock Exchange, which is the key thing. So, as a high level, I'll say what this website basically does is it lets you look at the underlying holdings, because that's often when it comes down to ETFs is what are the actual underlying holdings and how they differ between this ETF and that ETF in a sense. So what this website does is you go to the website, you can go to the ETF holdings section, hit the filters button. If it's a bit tricky, feel free to watch a couple of other videos out there. I can do a video in the future, but the person who built the website did actually do a video on how to use it. But basically, here's an example of an output. A classic, A200 versus VAS. They're both tracking the Australian share market. One does 200, one does 300. How are they slightly different? You get a side-by-side comparison. So right now, at the time that I'm making this video in the 5th of June 2022, this is the comparison that comes up. It shows both of them have 10% of their holdings in BHP. And you can see it's pretty much the same going down. Obviously, A200 would have slightly higher values for each one because it's got more companies within it compared to VAS. But you can see the comparison is very similar. And this is the key thing, is often if you're looking at two ETFs, you want to see what the holding comparison is. This website helps you with that. The next website is a classic for me, CamelCamelCamel.com. Now, no, on the surface, it doesn't sound like the perfect investing type website, but it's actually more handy from a personal finance point of view in terms of managing your expenditure on Amazon. Or the concept of price tracking websites is actually quite handy for any kind of website you might be using. So the reason I find this website useful is because often I might go to Amazon to buy something, but I'm not sure am I getting a good deal, because Amazon actually dynamically changes the price of their products over time. Well, I guess their sellers can as well. So as an example, let's use this muscle massage gun piece of technology. Let's say it's something you want to buy. I know a few people out there are interested in buying it. You're looking at the price right now on the website that I'm seeing. It's saying it's $119.99. Is that a good deal? What has it traditionally been? Well, I can show you how to check. So you go to the actual amazon.com.au website for it, grab the link, copy paste the actual link for that site. Then you go to CamelCamelCamel, paste it in the link. Then you scroll down and it will show you the Amazon price history. So at the time I'm looking at it, what I'm seeing is this. It listed at $140. Then at one point it went up to $200, and then it's kind of fluctuated between $160 and $120. That's how the prices actually fluctuated. And between $160 and $120, that's a $40 difference. That's a significant amount of money, right? So this is where the real value for this website is in the price alerts section. This is where it says create Amazon price watches. You go to the section, you type in your email address, you say if you want your third-party price to be tracked or the Amazon price to be tracked, why not do both? And then you can put in the target price that you need to be notified of, or it lets you say any price drop, or if it's gone down by 3%, 10%, whatever it is, you whack it in. This website has great elements of surprise and delight to it, because what it basically will now do is sit in the background. If the product you're looking at hits the price point, you'll get an alert. Super handy. And it's a great way to manage your spending as well. As what I've found is if I'm going on Amazon, there's something I'm interested in buying, but I'm not really, I don't really need it. What I will do is I'll set up a quick price alert. I'll say, well, let me know when it's 5% cheaper or if it has any kind of price drop. And then I'll forget all about the product. And then, a week, a month, a year down the track, I might get a little email saying, hey, that thing you were thinking about buying has dropped in price. And I'll be like, I'm not even thinking about buying it anymore. So very handy for that. Hey, if there's a couple of other websites that you think are super handy, feel free to leave it in the comment below. I'll grab a list of all the different sites that people put out and I'll put it as a pinned comment so other people can also have a look at it, and I'll put your name against it if you don't mind. If you enjoyed the video, please do consider liking and subscribing. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.